Welcome back to Star Zodiacs, where the mysteries of the cosmos unfold to reveal powerful truths about you and your journey through life. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most overlooked, but deeply important parts of your astrological chart, Chiron, the wounded healer. While the planets often get most of the attention, Chiron offers something unique and incredibly powerful. What if I told you that your deepest emotional wound could become your greatest strength? That the pain you once tried to bury might be the very thing that leads you to wisdom, purpose, and healing, not just for yourself, but for others? In astrology, Chiron is the key to understanding where you feel broken, but also where you can shine the brightest after doing the work of healing. It reveals an old scar, often rooted in childhood or early experiences, and shows you a path of transformation. Think of it like this: Chiron is the teacher who teaches not from books, but from experience, the kind that hurts, but also builds resilience. So, what does Chiron really mean in your birth chart? And what hidden gifts does it hold for you once you face that wound head on? Stick around until the end of this video, because we'll be sharing a bonus insight that reveals how Chiron can actually become a superpower in your personal life, career, and relationships. Let's get started. Wound. When Chiron is activated in your chart, the first and most important thing it points to is your wound. But we're not just talking about a scraped knee or a physical hurt. This wound is emotional, spiritual, or even existential. It's that place in your life where something feels incomplete, unfair, or broken. For many people, this wound starts early, like feeling rejected, abandoned, misunderstood, or not good enough as a child. It can be subtle, like always feeling like you don't belong, or big and obvious, like trauma or loss. The wound Chiron reveals can make you feel ashamed, embarrassed, or like you have to hide parts of yourself to be accepted. It often lives in the background, shaping your choices and your fears without you realizing it. The pain might show up in your relationships, career, or even in your self-talk. But the good news is, this wound isn't here to punish you. It's here to help you grow. When you finally face it, understand it, and stop running from it, you begin to change, and that's where healing starts. Mirror. One of the most interesting things about Chiron is that it acts like a mirror. What does that mean? Well, it reflects back to you the very things you're trying to avoid. People you meet, situations you go through, and feelings that keep coming up often trigger your Chiron wound. If your wound is about not being heard, for example, you might keep meeting people who talk over you or ignore your ideas. If your wound is about not feeling loved, you might find yourself chasing relationships that feel cold or distant. At first, this can feel frustrating, even cruel. Why does the universe keep sending you the same painful patterns? But once you understand Chiron, you realize it's not punishment. It's awareness. Chiron is showing you what you need to look at, what needs healing. And the mirror effect is there to help you notice, reflect, and grow. Once you recognize the pattern, you can begin to change it, and then, your life starts to transform. Shame. Shame is a big part of the Chiron journey. This isn't the kind of shame you feel when you spill a drink or forget someone's name. It's deeper. It's the shame that whispers, "You're not good enough. You're broken. You'll never be like them." Chiron wounds are often covered in shame because they come from moments where you felt deeply vulnerable, and maybe even judged or betrayed. This shame can be hidden so well that you might not even know it's there. You might act extra competent to cover it up. Or you might avoid certain goals or relationships because deep down, you believe you're not worthy. But guess what? When you bring this shame into the light and talk about it, maybe in therapy, or with someone you trust, it begins to lose its power. Chiron teaches you that healing doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being honest, open, and real about who you are. Vulnerability. Now that we've talked about wounds and shame, let's explore the gift hiding behind all that pain: vulnerability. Chiron helps you understand that being vulnerable doesn't mean being weak, it means being human. And when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, to share your real thoughts and feelings, something magical happens. You connect. You build trust. You create room for healing, not just for yourself, but for others too. Chiron wants you to stop pretending you're fine when you're not. It invites you to take off the mask and say, "This is me, scars and all." And guess what? That's when people lean in. That's when you start attracting true friends, deeper love, and real opportunities. Vulnerability becomes a bridge to connection, authenticity, and freedom. It's not easy, but it's one of Chiron's greatest lessons. Empathy. One of the most beautiful gifts that comes from working with your Chiron wound is empathy. When you've been through something hard and come out the other side, you understand what others are going through in a way that no book or school could ever teach you. You become a safe space. You become the person who says, "I get it. I've been there too." Chiron gives you the power to hold others in their pain without needing to fix them. Just your presence, your understanding, and your compassion can help others feel seen and supported. Whether you become a counselor, a teacher, a parent, or just a good friend, your wound gives you a kind of emotional wisdom that can guide others. And the best part? Every time you help someone else heal, you heal a little more too. Wisdom. When you think of someone wise, you might picture an old teacher or a spiritual leader. But real wisdom doesn't come from age alone, it comes from experience. Chiron helps turn your painful experiences into wisdom. The things you've struggled with the most become the things you understand the best. You know what it feels like to fall and get back up. You've learned what works and what doesn't. That's wisdom. And wisdom isn't just about giving advice. It's about seeing patterns, trusting your gut, and knowing what really matters. As you work through your Chiron wound, you'll notice that you become more insightful, more thoughtful, and more grounded. People may start coming to you for help or inspiration, and you'll be ready to guide them. Identity. Chiron also shapes your identity, the story you tell yourself about who you are. At first, the wound may make you feel small or stuck. You might see yourself as a victim, or someone who's just not lucky, or someone who will never be enough. But as you heal, that story begins to change. You start to see yourself as a survivor, a warrior, a healer. You realize that your past doesn't define you, it informs you. It teaches you. And you get to choose how the rest of your story goes. Chiron invites you to rewrite your identity, not by ignoring the past, but by owning it. By saying, "Yes, that happened. And here's who I've become because of it." That shift is life-changing. Purpose. Here's something powerful. Your Chiron wound is often tied to your purpose. That thing you've struggled with the most? It might be the exact thing you're here to help others with. Someone who felt invisible might become a speaker. Someone who battled illness might become a healer. Someone who faced rejection might become an advocate for inclusion. Chiron points to the kind of impact you're meant to make in the world, not by being perfect, but by being real. By sharing your journey. By turning your scars into stories of hope. When you follow your Chiron path, life begins to feel more meaningful, more aligned. You're not just surviving, you're serving. You're turning pain into purpose. Mentorship. As you walk the Chiron path and gather wisdom, you become a natural mentor. You might not even try, it just happens. People feel safe around you. They sense that you get it. And they start asking you for guidance. Whether you formally become a coach, a therapist, a guide, or just someone others lean on, Chiron gives you a mentoring spirit. But this kind of mentorship is different. It's not about having all the answers. It's about listening deeply, asking thoughtful questions, and reminding others that they're not alone. Your presence becomes healing. And through mentoring others, you deepen your own healing too. It becomes a beautiful, ongoing circle of growth. Freedom. At the heart of all of Chiron's lessons is freedom. Not the kind of freedom that comes from running away, but the kind that comes from facing your wounds and realizing they don't control you anymore. When you stop hiding, stop pretending, and stop avoiding, you start living. You start breathing. You start becoming fully, completely yourself. Chiron wants to free you from the idea that you're broken. It wants you to know that your pain doesn't make you less, it makes you more. more aware, more compassionate, more alive. And when you live in that kind of truth, you inspire others to do the same. That's real freedom. And it's waiting for you. Superpower. Now, here's the bonus we promised. Did you know that once you fully integrate your Chiron wound, it becomes a superpower? That's right, what once made you feel weak or flawed can become your strongest asset. Your empathy becomes your intuition. Your pain becomes your passion. Your story becomes your message. You stop seeing your wound as something to hide and start seeing it as a source of light. People are drawn to your truth, your strength, and your depth. You become magnetic. Whether you use your superpower to build a career, help others, create art, or simply live with more joy, it's yours to claim. That's the gift of Chiron, transformation from the inside out. So, what have we learned today? Chiron is more than just an asteroid, it's a roadmap to healing, growth, and deep transformation. It shows us where we hurt, but also where we can rise. From wounds and shame, to vulnerability, wisdom, and freedom, Chiron invites us to become the heroes of our own stories. And in doing so, we light the way for others. Thank you for watching. We'll be back soon with more exciting astrology-related videos. Until then, continue to make your mark on the world. Remember, greatness knows no limits. Be sure to leave a comment on which of these traits you relate to the most or to suggest our next video topic. We try to respond to every comment left by you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more astrology content. Until next time, keep reaching for the stars.